and gentlemen, um, as always, in for an amazing treat. But we have a global ambassador here with us today. She's an author, she's a coach, she's a leadership trainer, she's an organization change facilitator, she is a psychotherapist, she's a pioneer of the Denmark 3P community and a member of the 3P Global Community Board. Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha Swerdloff. How you doing?
Good. Great to see you, Rob. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. So much to talk about. I can't wait to get you started and let them hear why we invited you. But I really just me being Rob, as silly as could be. I want to start with psychotherapist. Okay. I want to start with what type of profession starts with psycho as they lead. Like, help me understand. What's a psychotherapist? Let's just go there first.
Yeah, you're right. A psychotherapist. Well, when I was done with school, I loved psychology, and I was looking at going to psychology studies at university. And I just realized that the whole focus of psychology was who's ill, what are the different kinds of mental disease there is. And I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in working with healthy people who have normal problems, relationship problems, a little anxiety, depression, all of these things that are pretty normal for most people. And so I decided to go for that rather than the psychology course.
So in all actuality, a psychotherapist is almost a totally different profession in a sense,
Yeah, it
or
looks more.
career lane, maybe is a better way to say it.
Yeah, it looks more at the health in people than the sickness in people, and that attracted me very much.
Oh, well, I think I want to be a psychotherapist. I like that. No, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to play with that. But I mean, going back, one of the things that I learned first about you is just the amount of work you have put into the Denmark area. So let's go back to, we could start with baby Natasha if you want, or young Natasha. Let's go young Natasha. And because you're born and raised there too.
I am, yes. I'm
Yeah.
born and raised in Denmark with a British father and a Danish mom. And I was finished with my psychotherapy training at 25 and started my own company. And
Oh, wow.
very quickly, within a couple of years, I went from being a psychotherapist and having my own clinic to becoming a consultant in companies. So I was 27, going out there and speaking about communication skills and how to thrive in business, and lots about communication skills as well. So it was more of a skills-based trainings that I did at the time. But I
Mm.
kept on having a spiritual interest. So when I was not working, I was reading spiritual books, going to spiritual courses. I was meditating. I was teaching meditation and Tai Chi. So my it felt like two sides of me: the business side, and then the psychological or spiritual side,
Yeah.
which was fascinating to me. And I was on a search. I was looking and longing for finding something that would sort of have a bridge between the spiritual and the psychological, or the spiritual and the business part of me. And I was looking and looking for years, and it wasn't until I was 42 years old that an English friend of mine talked to me about the three principles. And at the time, I went, I've done everything. I've seen everything. I've read every book. I haven't heard about those three principles. So, what kind of stuff could that be? But she brought me to London. I went to my first training with Michael Neal, coaching from the inside out, and I was fascinated. I was really looking to find out, what's the guy doing. It looked like magic because I could see these transformations, and my mind was very busy trying to figure out what is he doing?
Yeah.
What are the steps? And I couldn't see them. And so that led me to continue down this path. And I started to the next training I went to was with Aaron Turner in Sweden, and then on and on and on. And then I met Dicken Bettinger in 2014 in London at the conference. And after hearing him speak, I just knew that I had found my teacher. And I knew that
Yeah.
I had found what I'd been searching for. I heard in his talk the bridge between the spiritual and the psychological, and I fell in love with that. So that's been my path ever since.
Oh man, Dick can, I mean, it's so often on episodes when people talk about Dick and they talk about his voice or when he said something, or I remember what he said. This the beauty and softness in him is amazing. And I love Michael as well. Obviously, he was my introduction into the principles as well. That is so cool. So you then take, not only do you take it on though, you begin to build a community there for it. Talk to
Yes.
me a little bit about that.
Sure. So I think in 2015, a colleague and friend of mine, Mads Kvist, he got in touch, also business and the three principles together. He said, there's a little bit of people in this area of the country and some in that area of the country, and we're kind of spread out. How about building a community so we can get together and start having conversations with each other instead of just, a little bit here and there. So I said, sure. So we got together, I think 5 of us, and we started having meetings regularly. And it's a big job building a website, talking about what do we want, what do we dream of. And
Yeah.
it took 2 years to build it. So over a 2-year period, and with lots of work, we finally got the website up. We had thought about what kind of things, activities we wanted to connect people with, and we started up. So the Three Principles Danish community started in 2017, and just with maybe 30 people or so. But then it's been growing, and it's really exploding, especially the past couple of years during COVID. We now have a Facebook group which has more than 1,500 people, and
Oh
the
wow.
actual association has around 250 people who pay once a year. It's very cheap to be there. It is a non-profit, but
Mhm.
the little money that comes in goes to the administration and Zoom accounts and all of those things.
Yeah, to make sure take care of the business and things. But and
Yeah.
that also connected with you and Marina connected because you all are doing this not just in your country and not just in Mexico, correct? This is, you all are taking this globally in a sense, correct?
Yes. So I was the first 4 years I was part of the community. I was the chairman of Three Principles Danish community, and then I was invited into the board of Three Principles Global Community. So I resigned as chairman of the Danish community and started working with you and lots of other wonderful people. And Marina, who I already knew because we both went to Super Coach Academy with Michael at the same time. So
Okay.
we'd become friends then. So we connected now again and talked about how we had both built communities in our countries, and she in the Spanish speaking countries, not only Mexico, but the whole Spanish speaking community.
Yes, the whole South America, Latin America. Yes, okay. That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Very impressive. And so we went together and went, well, how could we support communities around the world? So now we've been in touch with people from Germany, Norway, Sweden, Italy. I just today took contact to Australia. She's taking contact to Prague in the Czech
Oh,
Republic. So we've reached out to different countries to support them in building communities so that we can get the word of Sit out, this understanding that has so much hope and it brings so much healing to people's lives, that we really want to support the communities, because it seems to be the place that people find it and find a community of people to be with. So because often people, when they learn about the principles, if they're the only one in their family or group of friends who know about it, people kind of think they're a bit kooks or
yeah. Oh, don't I know? Yes.
so having someone to talk to and having somebody to just to share ups and downs and all this really really matters. So we want to support that, and not only across countries. We want to help have communities of people interested in abuse or in the LBGT, or whoever wants to come together across, it could be across country, but also across different kinds of themes or interests. So it could be lots of different kinds of communities. We really want to support all of that.
Oh, I love that. A space for everybody,
Exactly.
a space for everybody who identify with whatever they identify with. And because this universal understanding is just pointing to a aliveness in whatever identity you choose. Like, it's up to you, musician, artist, create, that's all up to you. So I absolutely love that. So that kind of easily segue then with how universal that is into the book. Coming Home, uncovering the foundation of psychological well-being. Now, you and Dickon did that as a co-project together, correct?
We did, yeah.
How was that?
That was a very special collaboration that we both found very fruitful then and even today. So we, after I met him in 2014. I went to a seminar with him a couple of weeks after meeting him in London. He was going to Sweden, so I went there with my husband, and we sat on the first row, and we just loved every word coming out of Dickon's mouth. So I went up to him when the seminar ended, and I said, I would like to have you as my mentor. And so he became my mentor, and quite quickly in our conversations, we noticed that we had a very similar way of seeing the spiritual aspects of life. It was sort of, we felt like we were speaking with the same mind almost. And we started to write emails to each other. So I would, every time we'd had a session, I would write to him what I'd heard in an email. He would respond to what I had heard. Then I would write something about what he just said, and then he would write back. So within 4 of our sessions, there was, lots of emails, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 emails. And so on the 5th session, I said to him, I got this sense that we should write a book together. And of course, I was 2 years into the principles, and Dickon was a million years into the principles. So part of me went, you can't possibly ask this man, to write a book with you. I mean, why would he? He could write with anyone. It just kept coming. My wisdom just kept telling me to ask him. And so I gathered all my courage, and on the 5th session, I said, Dickon, there's all these emails, and I really love what we've written. Would you like to write a book with me? And he said, I've been thinking exactly the same thing. I would love to write a book with you. It would be my honor, is what he said.
Wow.
And I couldn't even believe it. So we finished our mentor sessions, and then we started writing. And so we wrote over almost 2-year period. I think it was 1 year and 9 months until the book was born. Living so far apart, we actually over a 2-year period, were able to spend around 80 days in the same room, so we could actually sit next to each other and write. But most of the time it was over Skype and Zoom, sharing a screen. And what we would do, we would often say, okay, what do you think about ego? And then we would both write about it. We would set each other an assignment, like, what do you think about ego? We would write something, both of us, and then we would compare notes. And then we would have a conversation about it. And through the conversation, something would crystallize that was both of our ideas.
Oh, that is a beautiful process.
It really was. And what it means is that the book is written in one voice. Yeah. And it's neither Dickon's nor mine. It's wisdom's voice, because wisdom kept coming through both of us in a way that was unanimous, that was completely aligned. So we never had any arguments or discussions around what we were going to write. We simply waited until there was this feeling, oh, now we have it. So it was the most beautiful process I've ever been a part of in terms of creativity. It was really a true collaboration.
It sounded like it. It sounded like it. I want to jump back though, because you said something that caught me, and I just want you to kind of put a little more sauce on it, basically. As accomplished as you were by the time you came to the principles, the amount of things you have done and all of that, you say you were still hesitant to ask. but for some reason you pushed through. As you said, wisdom kind of kept going. Kind of explain to me what insecure thought in your mind goes like, or process through for you to say, oh yeah, it's in there, but you went on through it and was able to walk into such a beautiful experience afterwards.
Well, I guess two things. I mean, accomplished as I was in the business world, there would have been not a lot of things that I wouldn't ask from that perspective, but I was new, and I knew I was new into the principles. But one thing I can say about myself that's always been true is I've trusted that wisdom always. Of course, I've made mistakes and not trusted at certain points, but I've always had this sense that something was guiding me towards the next thing that I needed to do. It's been this kind of just inner sense of a movement towards something, and I've trusted that always. So when this came again, it's like, no, trust that. Ask him. So even though my little mind was going, no, you can't possibly ask him. He's a guru in this.
Yeah.
It just, something inside of me said, ask, and I did. So.
Oh yeah, we are so happy you asked, because we get to reap the benefits of such a beautiful project. Oh man.
And now the book is out in 9 languages, and the 10th is on its way. The 10th language will be Swedish, but it's out in Italian and Spanish and German and Norwegian and Danish and Hebrew and Portuguese. I'm probably forgetting something, but 9 languages right now. So it's wonderful.
Wow. I think I did say global ambassador at the beginning. I can't remember, but do you remember? I did. Okay. I just want to make sure I said that correctly, because that's amazing. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sitting here like, whoa, when was it? Like, when did you, because obviously I've been in the same room with you on stuff we've done with the board, and we've had conversations, but looking at you now, it's like almost like your look is changing to the sense, because the clarity in which you're talking about, it's like, oh shit, like she sees something, this that you're doing, like the community building, the stuff like that. When did that become as clear as I'm seeing? And maybe it may not be for the audio, people won't understand, but when did it become as clear as I'm seeing it come out of you as? Like that you knew you were going to go about being a global ambassador of this message?
I've known that I would be a global ambassador since I was a teenager. It was very clear to me that I would travel around the world and teach something. I just didn't know what it was. So that had to unfold as I was growing up and became an adult and going into my 30s. And then in my 40s, when I met this, then I knew I'd already been teaching around the world in other areas. So I was already traveling. But it's funny, because I was listening to myself from a conference just the other day. It was a conference I did 5 years ago in Helsinki. And I was listening to that 30-minute talk. And I was thinking to myself, it's so funny. I pretty much say the same thing today, but with much greater clarity, because I've seen deeper levels of that truth. And that never stops. I'll probably be able to listen to myself in 5 years and kind of laugh at any talks that I'm doing at the moment and going, wow, that was how I was seeing it then. Now I see it even deeper. But the truth is the truth, and is always the truth. It's just the clarity with which you see that truth that keeps deepening.
Yeah, I think I now have put you in there's a group of people that I use as a source of inspiration and motivation about staying true to myself. And what I mean by that is when Dr. Roger Mills heard about the principles, he was already a social worker. And then it just put him in a mode where he did something amazing with social work as a result of walking into this understanding. The same with George Pransky. He was a psychologist. Like you were doing this already. And then when it became, you really woke up to, in a sense, or were enlightened by how the human experience worked, then it just became, oh, I'm taking it to a whole nother level now. Even with Michael as a coach. Michael's been a coach since 96, I think, 92 or 96. And he came into the principals, later in the 2000s. He was already doing it. And I was thinking about that the other day going, I have been neutralizing threats and helping people missions come to success my whole life, whether it's been through sports or the military. And it was like, that's what I'm going to do, through the hosting, I love coaching, but I don't have to do that as a form of spreading this understanding and being effective with waking people up to the ability to have an amazing life. And so that's kind of like the lane I'm in is like, well, I'm watching people who heard this in a space take it and just exponentially increase their lives. I think that's what I want to do. Stay true to myself and do that. So just thank you for that. That's long set of flowers for you in a sense, but thank you just for being true to yourself and knowing at such an early age, this is what you was going to do, just to know what it was, and then staying the course of it, and then doing it. Like, that's super cool. So, Natasha, we're at the point where the community's gotten to know you a little bit. If they anything like me, we've all fell in love right now. And so we're just kind of like prime ears and open. And this part is whatever it is that you want to say to the community. And you'll be the last voice they hear, but I really appreciate, man, this time and this stuff that you're doing. And yeah, I'll just shut up and listen now.
Well, I just want to say, stay in the conversation. I know it's something that Michael always says, but I really, really agree with that. Speak to other people about it. Continue to study Sydney Banks and lots of other wonderful teachers. I'm just completely in awe of so many of the people out there that continue to put out really inspiring stuff. I never tire of reading and listening and watching videos, but most of all, I noticed for myself that talking to people about it, sharing what I see, hearing what they see, really, we both grow from that. So any way that you can share this with other people and form a community wherever you are across any country or culture, just do it. Just stay in this conversation. That's really the important thing. Unfit in a box, I don't fit.